On May 26, a new global event will start in the Division 2. In this video I show you the perfect builds for the event. Hello and welcome back on my channel. My name is Charles and today I will show you some builds for the new global event Corrosive Shell. How the event will work. The enemies will have a shield, the Corrosive Shield, and to break this shield we have to apply a status effect. It doesn't matter which one, burn, bleed, so it doesn't matter. But how we can apply a status effect? I will show you some builds. The first build, I play the blue screen. The blue screen, the exotic weapon with disruptor rounds, shooting an enemy marks that enemy and adds a stack to the agent up to the count of 50. Shooting a marked enemy, refresh the mark and add stacks to the agent. When you deploy a non-shield skill, remove all stacks on agent and all marks targets trigger an effect. So we see on this weapon we have the pulse from 1 to 10 stacks, 11 to 25 pulse and disrupt mark, 26, 49, it's pulse, disrupt and disoriented mark. And with the maximum stacks, we have all the effects and all hostiles within 10 meters of the mark targets for 5 seconds. This effect will trigger immediately if any marked enemy is killed. So at the end it means we kill it and then also the blue screen will apply it. The second weapon, yeah, I have also here LMG, but at the end it doesn't matter which one. If you want to run a second weapon, run it with Sadist, so the amplifies weapon damage by 30% to bleeding enemies. But what's about now the build? We have 4 parts of the ongoing directive set. 2 pieces is 15% status effects, 3 pieces 30% reload speed, and 4 pieces is the important part because we will get some hollow point ammunition. And this one applies weapon damage by 20% and applies bleed on hit. The only thing, the first enemy we kill must have a status effect before. So then we gain this ammunition in our magazine. Don't worry about the prototype. You can play it without prototype. Yeah? So ignore the prototype in this build. We play 4 pieces of it. So the mask, then the chest piece, the holster, and also the knee pads. This is all ongoing directive. For the backpack, I go for the Anarchist Cookbook, if you have it. If not, I will give you a second option. But if you run it, you will have Perfectly Wicked. Applying a status effect, increase the total weapon damage by 18% for 27 seconds. The complete build, you have to check to get around 50 to 60 critical hit chance. I'm now on 47.9, but I think there was a mistake with the mods because the game is doing some weird shit at the moment. But now for the gloves, I run Overdogs. The Overdogs amplifies weapon damage by 30% to the lowest ranking enemies currently in combat. You have the tiers, so you have to do it step by step from tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. But how it looks like if we use this build. For the skill, I use the Jammer Pulse for the first enemy. You can also use Firefly, for example, or the Stinger Hive. So here you apply also bleed status on the enemies. But for me, I go always with the Pulse, so it's easier for me. So we take a named now, go for 15 meters. And so the first enemy, you see there's no ammunition. We apply the status effect, kill the target, and now we have the ammunition. The good thing with the blue screen is we have 200 rounds magazine, and you see it's really nice to play. We have a good amount of damage, it's around 1 million, so that's the first build in this video. If you don't have the glass, for example, you can also use ongoing directive set here. You can choose the coyote mask. So also you can play it like this. So you have the 4-piece and here the mask. Yeah, so there are some choices. But for me, I think the best choice is this build. Yeah, so this 4-piece ongoing directive, the gloves, and the anarchist cookbook. And if you don't have the anarchist cookbook, you can go for Petrol of Defense for the LMG damage and with the normal talent wicket, because the anarchist, it's the perfect wicket, and here you can play it with the talent wicket. You can change it, look for critical hit damage and the chance, and put the talent wicket on it. So then you see in the stats, I'm around 50 critical hit chance, so it's fine for me. I can change some mods and then it will work. The next set is something different, because in this build we will play the Tinkerer mask. What's the Tinkerer mask doing? At the end you can use 2 talents on the first weapon. So the primary second talent will also apply to the first weapon. In this case, I play a GR9. This one with Sadist, so for the bleeding I get 30% more weapon damage, and on the second weapon I run Streamline, increase weapon damage by 42% when no skills are on cooldown. So I can play the GR9 now with Sadist and also Streamline. For the mask, the Tinkerer mask, 4-piece of the ongoing directive set. So you see here on the backpack, the chest piece, the holster, and also the knees. And for the gloves, I use the Petrol of Defense Contractor's gloves for the LMG damage and the damage to armor. You can run, for example, also the turmoil, but in this case, I think it's not so clever, because for the turmoil, you damage also a second enemy and will be killed without any status effect. Yeah? So for my case, I will not run it with the turmoil knee pads. I leave it like it is. Now let's see in this build. So with the GR9, we need to apply the first status effect before we kill the enemy. So now I will apply a status effect. Now I have the ammunition, and so now you see it's also very nice to play. The damage is a little bit lower, but for this weapon we have a 250 mag, so the magazine is very big, so it's very easy to play. If you don't want to use the GR9, you can also go, for example, for a military MK46, for example. Also a very stable weapon, but for me, yeah, this build is also very nice. So there are 2 options. But for me, I will run this set with the gloves and with the anarchist. And also, if you don't want to run a blue screen, you can also choose the Iron Lung, because Iron Lung also apply a status effect. So in this case also, you damage a target, you get them ammunition. So also a nice weapon to play. The Big Alejandro, I will not choose, because I have to be always in cover. And we know, especially these events, we will run behind the enemies. So yeah, I will go for this build. Yeah, 100%, but with the blue screen. So blue screen, 4-piece, ongoing directive, and the gloves, the overdogs, and anarchist's cookbook. So this is the way, the build I will play the event tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for my English. I will improve for sure. So if you like the video, leave a like, comment, and maybe you consider to subscribe.